What is up, my fellow Intwebians? I am Logan, the Totally Epic Gamer, and today I'm bringing you an updated Blighted Rounds build. My last build was very survival oriented around freeze. I think it's great for console players and much better for people looking to just survive an early game Blighted Rounds build. This build is a much more late game focused, almost maxed, fitting my playstyle type of Blighted Rounds. So I'm just going to go through it. Similar detail as before. Let's just start with the class tree. So of course, we're taking more weapon damage, we're taking cooldown, we're taking weapon leech, we're taking armor piercing, we're taking crit damage, we're taking toxic inflicts vulnerable, which is, huge damage increase because vulnerable increases damage by 15%, 40% more effective, which makes it boost to about 21%. We're taking long range by 3 meters. A lot of people pointed out a really good point that this is really good because long range isn't considered very far. If you get this and the other nitrogen capsule, you're increasing it to about 12 meters out, which is very close, which is great because then you get this bonus here, which is long range weapon damage by 30%, really increasing your overall damage. But just kind of to go back, armor piercing is obvious why we're getting it. We're not getting a sniper because we're not doing sniper damage. Toxic, we don't worry about it lasting too long on people. We're hoping to kill things really quickly. This is great. Cannonade is great, but it doesn't fit into the build because we need cold snap. And if we didn't need cold snap, of course, it'd be great. Increase weapon damage by 30% for us and our allies, which is very fantastic. Could be better for a party build, but this is a very solo techno build. Weapon damage, obvious. Long range, we talked about it. This, increased 10% damage on toxic, since we're using blighted rounds. Of course, that's going to be good. Weapon damage to 8%. Assault weapon damage 20%. This makes sense. We're using ARs only. Generally, tac rifles, which we're going to go through. Assault weapon, same thing. We're using assault weapons only, so we'll skip the sniper damage. Armor piercing, 15% increased damage from all sources, but do 20% more. This is because we're a very do or die kind of build. So again, very self-explanatory. We're just looking for all that kill pressure on mobs. 30% long range weapon damage, which we kind of went over. We're going to be really focusing on keeping people at about 12 meter range or farther. Clip size, very important because we need more bullets to get through. Also, we need it to get to the end, but more bullets to get through the damage. 15% more damage on toxic, huge damage increase. It's pretty much getting a free toxic increase mod, so very good. And empowering antenna, every time we throw the blighted turret, because obviously blighted rounds will never go off, we'll get a 40% weapon damage increase, which is very good. So one of the things that you can kind of think about in this build is, do you really need this cooldown reduction? You see how I double dip on this path, and I don't really need it. Cooldown reduction isn't really helping me that much. I don't need to spam blighted turret more than once every 10 seconds, so it's not necessary. The issue is it's hard to find another spot. Anomaly power, maybe. This is maybe the only difference I could see people making is from here to here. That's totally up to you. I find it's not a big enough increase. The decreased cooldown doesn't really help me, but if I do screw up my blighted rounds, it is a little bit helpful. And I don't find anomaly power makes a big enough difference for me. So I have decided to just kind of keep the cooldown. But this is an easy switch if you do want to make it. Or you could go afflict toxic for longer. It's up to you. I don't think that one's too good either. I think that this build path is generally well accepted as the best build path. So now we're going to go into the inventory section. And you'll see that I'm running the submachine gun tac. There's a lot of discussion around whether or not the AR or submachine gun's better. And what I'll say is it really depends where you're at. The AR tac is better for end game if you can get a really good one. If you've got one that's got close range damage on it or long range damage on it, maybe some crit damage on it as well. I like weapon life leech. It really does keep me alive. And it has a good mod. Yeah, you're probably going to do it. I see a lot of people doing the Earthborn trick where you get a really good Earthborn weapon and you get high firepower on it and it starts with a good mod so you can put Killing Spree on the side. I think that's good. The only thing I would say is if you are using an AR tac weapon early, like you're early into this kind of blighted rounds build, you're going to run out of ammo a lot. The submachine gun gives you 90 bullets. It's really good. You're rarely going to run out of blighted rounds. You're going to have a much easier time of just slamming through it. If you are at that end game where you're just looking for raw damage, raw speed, the AR attack is better. I unfortunately just haven't found one that fits well into my build yet, that has a good mod, good attributes, good firepower. So currently I still run the submachine gun, but that is variable. You can change it out. I keep Thunderbird on because 97k firepower is just what a great roll. I just love it. So I just kept it on. It's slower than my submachine gun tac. If I could change this to assault rifle tac, this would be like so amazing. It would be so good. I would clean house, but it's not the case. So we have to go with this. Attack is just better. You know, you can see here, submachine gun doing more damage per shot than this. Like, that's crazy. This damage increase would be huge if I could change its attack. Going over it, this is the Borealis Monarch build, you know, and I love this set. I really do. I know there's better out there, but this is the set I really, really like. And the reason is because it really focuses on the freeze aspect of not dying, right? So here we can see bonus firepower, status power, long range damage. In this order, this is how you want to focus on your attributes. Long range damage, bonus firepower, close range damage. Now, some people will say you want long range, close range bonus, but I find I like to really keep them at a distance anyways. And I'll actually focus on doing long range first, then close range. And cold snap can cover my close range gap, so long range is good. Status power is not very great, but the Borealis set does have a really good mods on it to start. For example, the Icicle Storm here, I really abuse this mod. It's a tier 3 mod. Perfect, I don't need to add it to anything. And that's kind of how it goes through. I don't use the gloves and boots. That's just to show you the whole set in its glory. But we'll get to why I don't do that. So again, bonus firepower, long range damage, very good. Bonus firepower, long range damage, very good. There is a small upgrade I can make here where I, instead of cryo down, I would have euthanizer on there and I'd keep the tier 2 mod that is the more ice damage mod. But we're not doing that because I didn't get a second Borealis Monarch. So slight, you know, difference there could increase. In terms of mods, emergency stance, very, very important. This mod, I believe, is a little bit bugged right now. It's almost always active, and this will stop you from dying all the time and make your cold snap like very useful because you can get real tight on people, let them all crunch in on you, and then you explode them, as we'll get to see. Here, just went with Bloodlust. Very good firepower increase, good stacking with Killing Frenzy over here, or Killing Spree. And Killing Spree is obviously your huge mod. This is the mod that you're really going to want on your weapons, so of course you have that there. And Bloodlust stacks well with it. Here, Euthanizer, 25% more damage against Toxic. Of course, Blighted rounds, that's huge. And then these items, the reason we're not using them, which is what I'm going to go over, and not why we're using what we are using, is because the attributes on it are long range damage, cooldown, and max health. We're getting rid of bonus firepower for max health, and that's just not worth it. It doesn't matter that the tier 3 is okay with Shatter, and that Sharp Eye is on this one, which is a great one. That is great. We're going to actually use that mod anyways. But it just, you can't, you know, you can't do it. So instead of giving up the bonus firepower, we're actually giving up a little bit of long range damage. It's debatable on whether or not that's good or bad, but Gauntlets of the Cannonball give me Captain Hunter, which is a mod I'm already going to want, and I can put Sharp Eye on it, which is amazing, and that's why we're putting that on there. Of course, this would be better if it had long range and close range damage. It doesn't. I haven't found anything to fit the gap yet, so that's where we keep it today. Of course, I could always change Bloodlust into Sharp Eye and put Captain Hunter on something different, right? Maybe a hand that has a Bloodlust on it with bonus firepower, close range, and long range. But, you know, that's asking for a lot on a hand piece, and I haven't found one that's perfect for that. But that would be an upgrade you could make on this piece of gear specifically. Here, Borealis Monarch, talked about where we're not using it. So what we use instead is the Critical Analysis, Toxic Lead, bonus firepower, long range damage. Now, as you can see, I'm not running the second Blighted round mag, and I'm not running the 30% mag increase for Blighted rounds. And that's because those are really good early game mods. But when you get to the point where you're killing things so quickly, you're going to drop those mods because they're actually not improving your ability to kill fast. And when you no longer need them, you'll drop them. You only need Toxic Lead or the Blighted rounds mod. Toxic Lead's better because it gives you 40%. The Blighted rounds mod only gives you 30%. So that's why we kind of have the gap there. Skills Life Leech isn't great, but I haven't found a good upgrade to it. I would love close range damage on it, but you know, you're asking for a lot. You're asking for the perfect attribute setup, good armor setup, and perfect mod setup. It's tough to get and definitely not likely to happen in the first week or two of gameplay. So that's the overall set. I know that's a long explanation, but I like to go really in depth here just to kind of talk you through why each piece is happening and where the upgrades could happen. Like a perfect build, it's not as achievable yet for a lot of people and a lot of players. But if you do have a perfect build, fantastic. Or if you don't, now you know where to like really direct your upgrades and what's going to really focus your damage for you. I realized that I did not talk about the set bonus, so let me go over it very quickly. You get a 10% increase on frozen enemies. Not amazing, but okay. The one thing here is this is the only part of your build that will ever be good for teammates other than damage. You get a 90% crit damage boost for all of your teammates. Works fantastic with other rounds based builds. Not to be teamed up with anomaly power, but if you got some friends that like to do firepower based builds, you will be loved in that party, increasing all of their crit damage by 90%. Amazing. Should be noted though, it does not increase your crit damage, which does suck. So that's the overall setup. That's the class tree. And we're going to go through a good show of it here at Stargrave. I really like Stargrave. You can see 12 minutes is gold. And you can see for me, my fastest is 6:02. We're pretty much half the speed. I love Stargrave. I think it's way more fun and way less critical than Boomtown. So I'm just going to go through the actual gameplay portion of how I like to play this setup. So what you're going to see is obviously I pop Blighted rounds, throw my Blighted Turtle at, but the real thing about Cold Snap is when you use it. You need to be effective with your Cold Snap usage. It's got a long cooldown and you have no way to reduce that cooldown other than getting CDR gear, which means you're going to take away from your damage. So you need to really be cognizant of when you're using Cold Snap. And generally, you won't be wanting to use it on defensive means. So you want to use it aggressively. You get 500,000 damage per snap on people. Like, it's big damage. So you really do want to be using it aggressively and making sure that you're not using it to survive and you're really using it to make sure that you clean house. And here we're getting some good grouping here. Do a quick snap. You can see we got 450k damage on each hit, and boom. And then you can see the status power effect here on this destroyer. You can see that I was a little bit too close there. I was only doing 150k damage on crits, just a little too close. If I had backed up a meter or so, I'd be hitting, see, I'm hitting 167 on these guys without even critting. Whoa, please, there we go. And that's kind of where you want to be. You want to be sitting that long range. As you can see, that's why close range is good. It's a good stopgap for when you get a little too close and you can't find that rhythm. But overall, not bad. You'll notice that I've obviously done this a few times, is I'm like not even focusing on the people behind me. I know they're there. I'm just waiting for Cold Snap to come back up. And that's obviously where you're going to make a lot of your time savings on things like this, is just knowing when to use your abilities. Cold Snap, fortunately, is one of the very few things that you actually have to worry about in this build, is your placement of it. And you can see now I just get to clean up. And here we go. So this is the one thing I'll say is why AR attack is better. You'll see that I have to actually get a little bit closer because submachine gun doesn't reach as well. And this is an okay time, 150 breaking the wall. 130 is probably really good. But here you'll see that there's people far away and I'm not doing a lot of damage. That's because this submachine gun has a range cap on it, right? And if the AR can go much farther, and that's why there's a big discrepancy on people like saying which one's better. And that's what I'll say is why the AR attack is better on very late game builds, because you can shoot a lot farther away and obviously you're long range damage focused. So that's very impactful to you. But at the same time, it's going to come down to preferential. Oh, I'm taking a little bit of damage here. See if we can clean this up a little bit. Yeah, it's going to come down to preference. These are all gold style builds. Like, they're all going to work. Some are going to be faster than others. But, of course, you know, the fastest way to do something is to not die. So, whatever makes you get to the end without dying as fast as possible, that's the build you should always choose. Don't worry too much if people say you have to use AR attack. It's a waste of time to do something else. That's just empirically not true. As you can see, like, doing a 6-minute Stargrave is very good. And those are all post-nerf times. They're not pre-nerf times. I didn't have one of those insane builds that other people had, so all the times you saw on that list, those are this build now in you know, post nerf times. Okay, so that was actually a pretty good start here. Gonna hope for a good spawn on this behemoth. Not bad. Okay, now we gotta worry about the Scythans. There they go. Not looking to die on any ridiculous things here, as that Scythan comes in and swoops me. Where is he? There he is. As you might be able to tell, I've maybe done Stargrave just a few too many times, but boy do I love doing it. Fast, good with the build, and just, you know, low chance of death. So here we're going to be looking for the crawlers and the behemoth all at once. Behemoth had a bad spawn, it looks like, because I don't see him. Kill the Scythan here. Kill the crawler. Unfortunately, we didn't get the crawler early. So now we have the behemoth behind us, which is tough. That's going to be brutal to take out. We're just going to have to keep working around that. Looks like the behemoth is either stuck or not pushing me, which is either or is fantastic. Okay. Behemoth is one of the few ways to die because, you know, if you don't have a golem proc for some reason and he jumps you and attacks you, you are dead. Okay, 432. Not terrible. Not a bad speed. And of course, this isn't like perfection. You know, this isn't the perfect run. This is just what a general run looks like for this build. This is what it looks like every time. It's just a good show with Stargrave because it goes so quickly. And here, one of the things that you want to remember with this build, you want to focus on long range first. Because you're so much more long range oriented, shoot people that are far away. Let Cold Snap clear things up for you. You see the P4s are jumping me, and there's also an Alpha near me. I'm not worrying. I know I can do more damage here if I just wait and then pop them all together. And that's a good little like tip here. Is you're always going to do more damage at long range because of the 30% buff no matter what. So just make sure you focus on clearing long range and using Cold Snap to clear your close range. It's a good way to like stop gap your close range damage. And here you get to see the just raw power that I'm just going to destroy this Broodmother very quickly. Brood Empress, I'm sorry. Shoot the armpit because that does more damage as, you know, for obvious reasons because of no obvious reasons. And just shoot the Phoras, let them come into me. Shoot the Technomancer or the Venomous. For some reason I always think they're Technomancers. I'm not sure why, but look, I don't make the rules. Jump around here a little bit. We have to shoot these Technomancers anyways. So what I'm doing actually right now is waiting for my Cold Snap to come up. Because I know that I can clear this a lot faster with Cold Snap. So I guess you see right here. So I know there's no reason to worry. I can just wait for it to come up and clear the Technomancers at the same time, or the Venomancers. And that's it. That's a 620 time on Stargrave. That's what this build looks like. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna let you see obviously what loot I got because I'm not gonna let you you know, come this whole way not to see the loot. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you liked it, please leave a like. If you think that you like these kinds of builds, there's lots more to come, so subscribe, hit that little bell, and hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching.
Just attracted to big shiny things.